Grant, starting strength coach here in Costa Mesa, California, and thought it might be worthwhile to talk about what I have as a coach. I run about 10 to 15 sessions out of this single car garage a month, and with minimal equipment, and yet people keep coming back for some reason. So as you can see, a one car garage, I believe it's 11 feet wide and 16 feet deep, so not a very big space to begin with that you need. And then the whole thing is built around this right here. This is a Rogue R3 power rack. I believe brand new. They're about $600, something like that, depending on what kind of sales they have going on. Any kind of power rack would work. When I first started my gym, I had two 5-gallon buckets like this with a do-it-yourself website I found, and I made a squat rack out of that and squatted 405 off of it. You can see the leftovers. I still have this bench. This bench I created when I built that older style squat rack, and I've never gotten rid of it. And a lot of people come in here and bench on it. It's the first thing they always comment on, but it works just fine. So the Rogue R3, I do recommend if you're going to spend some money on a good rack. Second thing would be the bar. This would be the number one thing I would say to spend money on. This is the B&R bar, $300 on Rogue. Great bar, and you can do everything with it. I have a couple bars here, more because I'm a coach, not just because I'm a trainee. And I have a 35-pound bar for when I have mainly the women that come in and can't press 45 pounds right off the bat. But really, you just need one. Outside of that, for weights, if you're just training yourself, the key thing is that they're consistent. So I have a couple sets of bumper plates that I've used. I bought them when the CrossFit Games was here in 2010. They put everything on sale afterwards. So I bought some Rogue bumpers. And then outside of that, I think I've yard saled all my iron. As long as the plates match on either side, I'm happy. They're not calibrated, but they work. And since I'm training in here, it's the same every time and it works out. So the flooring, this I bought Craigslist item. These are called Tuff Mats, Tuff. I got a deal and bought a ton of them. You would really only need a couple. If you had 3, you could deadlift, 1 for your feet and 2 for either side. Yeah, it's just kind of something I've done, but you can get horse stall mats, all kind of other stuff for cheap. And
so you've garage saled everything in here minus the power rack, is that right?
Minus the power rack and the barbells.
And the barbell.
Yep, everything else. I've garage saled, yard saled, found online, Craigslist, something like that.
And what was your total expenditure for the whole thing?
So this thing is, we'll call it $600. I can't remember exactly. The bar's $300, so there's $900 right there. And on average, I would say iron, you're spending 80 cents a pound. I have, I think, 700 pounds in here. Math for somebody.
Let's say 500.
Yeah, $500 in iron. So $1,400 there. Flooring was cheap, but for $1,500, I tell people all the time, if you have the space for $1,500, you can get everything you need and be set up, and that's buying quality. You know, if you want to buy cheaper, you definitely can. So just to finish up, outside, obviously the one downside to my single car garage with low ceiling is the ability to press. So for an additional $200 at your local fitness expo kind of place, I think I bought these in Huntington Beach. They were $199 or $179. This allows me to bring people outside and press overhead, the one thing that I can't do inside. Outside of that, the only thing I do for people with conditioning is the Prowler. Bought it at the same place I bought this rack.
What did you spend on the Prowler?
The Prowler, under 200. I can't remember. Somewhere between 150 and 200. Yeah, so between the Prowler and this, that gives me everything. And again, you could squat off of these up into 400-pound range and be totally fine. The benefit of the power rack, obviously, being having some spotting ability, right? Some pins to go on, allows you to do a couple more lifts.
And on the power rack, it's a bolt together one, right?
It is. So that one is bolted together, and I also bolted it to the floor, which is definitely worth it. So I did rent like a high-powered concrete drill to go into the floor so that thing's stable, and I could do all my pull-ups and stuff like that off of.
Oh, right. So you do your chins in the
Yep,
garage.
chins in there, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
Grant.
Appreciate it.